This drawing was done at the request of Jessica Nigre, a famous cosplayer, and this is her dressed up as Mad Moxie from Borderlands 2. If you like this, remember to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for more. One Piece, Chapter 85, Three Swords versus Six. Oh, holy Lord. Very difficult to put this down. Welcome, brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic and action-filled Thrill-A-Minute tale of One Piece. Our last chapter left us with Zoro pretty much passing out from the pain, so to speak, from his wounds with Hawkeye, but finding something within himself to still get up, and he's now requested the swords of Yasaku and Johnny, so he can go at Hachi, old crazy ass six-armed octopus guy that's coming at him with six sword style. He wants to be able to come at him utilizing his three sword style. So Luffy is still at the bottom of the ocean, but Genzo and Nojiko have dived in to try to save him. And anyway, that's where we begin. So Hachi thinks that he's unstoppable with these six swords. Zoro, obviously calls on the swords from Yasaku and Johnny. Yasaku and Johnny go and toss them at him, and they're spinning through the air, and they're like, "Brother Zoro, we threw you the swords!" And Zoro's just kind of not even paying attention, doesn't even look behind him, doesn't phase him, and he's starting to go. And then this chapter is very much Zoro versus Hachi, is what it is. It's very much, three sword style versus six sword style, which I think is actually the name of the chapter. And Hachi goes and he's coming at him, and he's getting ready to use his his wolf swords, or wolf strike, and he's going to come at Zoro, and as he is, these swords are from Yasaku and Johnny are spinning behind him or whatever, and Zoro's got the one sword, of course, in his mouth, and without even looking back, breaking stride, even looking away from Hachi, he just grabs these two swords out of midair and goes and winds up blocking and then ultimately pushing to the side and dodging Hachi's attack, hitting him in the process. And winding up on the other side of him, and everybody's like, "Oh, Jesus, he just got through Hachi like he was nothing," Well, Hachi is not very excited about that. Zoro and even Yasaku and Johnny comment on if his wounds are pretty bad from his battle with Hawkeye. They would have killed a normal man, But Zoro is not a normal man, and he can handle them. But if his wounds open up again, he's sure to be dead this time, And that's kind of the running theme throughout this is, oh my God, is he going to be able to have enough in him? And even Zoro is kind of doubting himself, and I don't know so much doubting himself, but he's thinking, Jesus, this is going to be very difficult. You know what I mean? I've lost a lot of blood. I've got, I'm not feeling good here. These wounds, that I have, I'm basically, lightheaded, woozy, dizzy. So Hachi comes at him, with a number of different moves, and ultimately, like I said, Zoro winds up doing a lot of different blocking techniques on things, and Hachi does come at him though, and get him with this body slam and a few other things, and basically, as I said, that's just very much a battle between these two, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty action packed. Some of the highlights of the battle, it really is Zoro just kind of going crazy and being able to still fight him off. And the whole time he's got this thing running in his head about how, I can't be beaten, and he sees Hawkeye in his vision and everything, and when Hawkeye said, why do you keep moving forward and keep coming even in the face of certain defeat? And it's basically showing Zoro's will and persistence, and he's saying to himself, if a normal person would have passed out and died from this, but I cannot. I am not a normal person. And it's him basically having that confidence in himself to be the ultimate, the ultimate swordsman, the best swordsman, the greatest swordsman that ever lived. So while all of this is going on, there is a brief takeaway from the action where we see Luffy, who is really, he's ingested a lot of water at this point. Nojiko and Genzo has brought this giant mallet down with him, basically like a big sledgehammer. But unfortunately, just because of the way the ocean goes, if you've ever tried to punch underwater, the resistance is great, especially probably 100 feet down in the ocean or 50 feet, whatever it may be. So he's trying to swing, and he cannot break this rock. And and she's going, God, if only we had an air tank, and then they kind of both look at each other and get this like light bulb that goes on in their head. So they've got something planned, but that's just sort of a brief page that takes away from the action. It gets back into it, and it gets back into the action, and as I said, it's Hachi going, you cannot beat me. I've got this 6 sword style. I've got 6 swords, and that's more than 3 mathematically. There's no way you can win. And then Zoro's like, mathematically? Seriously, don't count on mathematically. Like, first of all, my 3 swords are better than your 6 because my swords are weightier than yours, and that's the word he uses. So I don't know if he means to say like heavier, stronger. But Hachi goes, man, my swords weigh 650 pounds each, you weakling human, and you couldn't even wield my swords, and blah blah blah. So Hachi goes to come at him with with a pretty badass technique, that he's going to come and take out Zoro, right? I mean, that's his thought. He's going to gear up on this technique, and he's going to be done with him. But he winds up coming at him with this, this waltz of 6 swords, and he's coming at him. It's basically this spinning, whirling blades of death thing, and everybody's like, if you get hit even once, you'll be mincemeat. So, you think that Zoro's doomed, and even, Yusaku and Johnny are like, brother, Zoro's gonna die, And he winds up coming through, and there's just this whole chaotic splash page scene, and everything. And you don't know what's going on the way it's drawn. It's basically just like a bunch of swirling and dust and swords and stuff. And it comes out on the other side, and Zoro is in this cool stance, and he looks like he has run through Hachi, and Hachi is cut. He's cut, he's cut in several places, and he's bleeding, And Hachi's thinking to himself, son of a bitch, he matched the rotation of my blades, right? So it's almost like he's got that Spider-Man, sense where he can slow shit down, match the rotation of his blades, ducked and dodged through, managed to cut him in the process, right? So Hachi's like, oh, fuck, no matter. That's it. I'm gonna come at you with this other attack, and he goes to come at him, and Zoro's fucking had it. That's it, man. He goes to come at him with this attack, and he goes to say New Year or something, and right before he does, Zoro goes and just kind of charges himself up and goes Oni, and then he says New Year's, and then Hachi goes New Year's, and he's going to do this attack or whatever, and he goes Giri, and I mean he just comes through. The next page, you flip, oh God, I gotta turn the page. You turn the page, and the next page, man, all of his swords are busted. He's gone through all of them, and Hachi's just like, fuck. So Hachi still goes and comes at him, he's going to go and drop the blade. He's like, and then so he's going to gear up to do that punch that he does again, that the fritter, the octopus fritter that he does, or whatever. And he's going to go come at him with that or whatever. And Zoro just goes and doesn't even hesitate, doesn't nothing, right? Like I said, he's been talking to himself in his head, and he's been going, if this would kill a normal man, I must still go on, So he's just he's in fucking overdrive badass mode. And he just comes at him, man, and he just dragon twister, right? And just, and it just reminded me of something like out of Street Fighter, like Ken or Ryu with their Hadouken, or something like that, because this thing just looks like this crazy-ass technique. Hachi goes flying up in the air. We see this cool panel where there's just blood spurting out of him from everywhere, and it looks like cuts just all over the place on him. So he clearly got just completely nailed, completely effed up, and he looks like he's done, man. I mean, and everybody, and they're like, oh my God, and Zoro is just basically like, all right, whatever, and you guys are beneath me even. And so then Kuroobi goes to come up behind him, and basically go and blindside him, because Zoro's, of course, standing there, and he's weakened anyway, but he's just gone and landed from this move. And Kuroobi goes to come up and to blindside him and hit him like a cheap fuck, right? And our boy Sanji comes out of nowhere, and he's and just nails him with one of those nice side kicks, knocks Kuroobi back and goes, yeah, you punched me a while ago, and and knocked me away a little bit, and I think he's basically kind of just, I think we're getting gearing up for the next chapter, which is going to be him, Sanji squaring off against Kuroobi, because he's basically just like, yeah, fuck you, and Kurubi's just like, oh yeah, impressive. I haven't seen any human be able to take that punch, that 40th degree punch of mine or whatever, and still, live or still be standing. And Sanji goes in as if to add insult to injury. This is the intimidation part that I've talked about a lot, in a lot of past reviews. He basically just goes and he says, yeah, I know of a lot of humans that could take that, on the ship that I used to work on the restaurant that I used to work at. So basically he's saying, like, listen, any one of the fighting cooks could go and take a punch from your bitch ass, So that is how the chapter ends, and like I said, there's certainly thrill a minute. They go really quickly. They're tons of fun. I can't wait for the next one, and I'm hoping that that'll be, Sanji squaring off against Kuroobi. I'm hoping that Luffy, is able to get rescued. Because when Zoro goes and finishes up, with Hachi, he goes and even mentions, you guys aren't even worth my time. I have to go rescue Luffy now. He doesn't realize that anybody's going to save him or what have you. So let me know what you think, though, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to, of course, hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Why does man look so happy? You probably look so happy because he watched videos of mine, and he probably press like button, maybe even subscribe button. So I don't know, you tell me, Nation.